Hello everybody, welcome back. In this video, I shall talk about some ideas that you could use to earn bonus points for the Spot the Hero game. Right now, recall that Spot the Hero is a game that we make our students do as part of our introductory class on Scratch. This is the first time that we formally introduce broadcast. Obviously, broadcast is a very important feature in Scratch, and it's important to understand how to use it, where to use it, and what you can do with it, right? So we have highlighted that there are three main uses of broadcast. Number one, that you do something on one sprite, but the effect is felt on another sprite. Number two, that there are multiple reasons for some event to take place, right? That's number two. And number three is that you just like to sequence things, right? So, one thing happens after the other, right? So this game highlights all three of those, and hence it's a very important game. And in this video, what we shall look at is what you can do to earn bonus probably in these games, right? So let's just start with a little bit about bonus, right? So I've said this before, but basically bonus comes after basic, right? You always earn bonus. What you can do for bonus is almost endless. What earns bonus today may not earn bonus in future. Bonus is your opportunity to push yourself, try out new things, amaze everybody. However, remember rule number one, that bonus comes after basic. Now, the reason I reiterate this all the time is because this is so important, right? So in this particular game, the basics are really about broadcast and the three uses that I mentioned about it. Make sure you are clear about those, right? Because those are fundamental to you developing more advanced games in future, right? So please understand broadcast. Please also look at the things like timer, usage of variables and so on and so forth. So these are all basic. Now, once you are clear with all that, you're basically able to make the class game. Here are some ideas that you could use for bonus, right? So now you could, number one, start some kind of introductory animation / instructions, right? Now this of course applies to any game. So you could start the game not just with the game directly, but with say some kind of a screen where you tell, okay, this is how the game will be played, right? Now, as I said, this can be done for any game. However, it's very interesting in this particular game because to do this, right, to do it in a clean, nice way, the best method is to use broadcast. So what you could do is to have a screen in the beginning, let the user read through the instructions, or probably have a small animation there. Then maybe when the user clicks a button, or maybe after some kind of time, right, you just say, okay, start the game, and that broadcast kickstarts the game, right? So that's a simple bonus idea for sure, right? Coming to the game itself, right, now you could change the behavior of sprites as the game goes on, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, remember we have this timeout, right? So you could make the sprites become faster or slower, right? So maybe after say 10 seconds or something like that, the game becomes faster, or probably, after let's say some time, the costumes or the sizes of the sprites change. Now this could be on the hero sprite. This could also be on the say not hero sprites, the villain sprites, so to say, right? So again, you can use broadcasts here, right? So say, okay, whenever, for example, I click a particular sprite, everybody's costume also changes along with their taking a new position, right? Or everybody's size changes. Maybe the hero becomes bigger or smaller or vice versa, right? There's so many things you can do, right? Then you can add some kind of surprise elements, right? So probably, there are just an idea like, for example, there are these sprites which are just hovering around, which are going around, in the stage. They don't contribute to anything except probably adding a little bit of confusion to you. Maybe they look similar to the hero sprite, or maybe they, they just distract you. They just want you to focus that much more, make it difficult for you to catch the hero, right? So that's another thing you could consider as adding a new sprite. Of course, you have to coordinate their motion with the clicking and so on and so forth, right? A version of this, right, and I think this is very interesting, is that you can have new sprites getting added as the game is proceeding, right? So what do I mean by that? Remember, we started this game and ended the game with 3 sprites, right? So there's always 3 sprites, but you can choose to be different. You can say that, okay, look, I'll just start with the one hero sprite, but as the game goes on, right, I'm going to add more and more sprites, right? So maybe after one, I'll have 2 sprites and I'll have 3 sprites. What you will find is that the clean way of doing this would be to use a lot of broadcasts, right? So maybe after a certain time, you say, okay, broadcast second sprite come in, broadcast third sprite come in, and that sprite comes in, right? And the game just gets that much more interesting for you, right? On this note, you can also create different levels, right? So for example, maybe the hero sprite itself changes as the game goes on. Maybe you go to a next level, or probably the entire numbering system changes, right? So maybe hero is getting 10 points, but after some point it just becomes that much faster in a new level, right? Maybe the surroundings change, the background changes, and so on and so forth, right? So I think uh, creating new levels is a great idea here, because again, as we will see in a later class, that to create the next level, broadcast is a very powerful tool, right? So this game is all about broadcast, right? Finally, and this may be a little bit advanced to a lot of people, you can use this concept of layers, right? And you can basically hide all your sprites behind a, let's say, a dark layer, right? And you can have a small, like a torchlight type of thing on your mouse, which can help you identify the hero. So that makes a very interesting variation of this game. I'm putting a link in the description. You can take a look at that and see if you can get some ideas from there, right? So in other words, there are a bunch of things you can do, right? Let's just briefly see these in context of the game that we built in the class, right? Remember, our game was very simple, right? We had, we had this basically 3 sprites. So, they are moving around, and I have to click on Giga to get points. If I click on Nano and Pico, I lose points, right? So let's see what all we can do in light of this game right here, right? So the first thing that I said is that you can have an introductory animation or an instruction, right? So remember, here we have this instruction, this is not instruction, this is like the end of the game saying time is up right at the end, right? And that came when we have this broadcast time up, right? But you can have something like this very much in the beginning. So maybe the game starts with this and say that, okay, look, this is a game where you have to do so and so. You can even have a small animation that, Giga can come in. For example, in my game, Giga comes in and says, right? So that's like adding a bit of comic that, look, I'm trapped in this area. Please help me out. Please find me all the time. Please spot me. Do not get distracted. Have all of that, right? And then send a broadcast to start the game, right? So what will happen is, instead of when flag clicked, it will be when that particular broadcast is received, you do all this, right? I mean, of course, the sprites have to hide, so you have to do some amount of work to make that happen, but that's a nice idea, right? Next thing you notice is that, you could, like I said, change the behavior of the sprites as the game is going on. So there are 2 or 3 avenues I can think of, right? One, obviously, is this timeout, right? Remember, in our game, if we leave these sprites alone, then in 1 second they go and take on a new position, right? And that happens because we use timer. Again, if you are confused about this, just go and look at what is timer, how do we use it. That's part of the basic, right? So, but once you are through with this, right, you will find that you can actually play with the value of the timeout as the game goes on. So probably the game can just speed up as it proceeds. Another thing you can do is that you can change the costumes or the sizes of these sprites, either just to make it more confusing, or probably every time I click, let's say every time I go and click Giga, maybe Pico becomes bigger or Nano becomes bigger, right? Or maybe Giga becomes bigger, whichever way you want it to be. You can do that, and what you will find is that, the game will actually become more interesting, more difficult, more involved, right? In a similar way, you can have these surprise elements, right? Now, what do I mean by that? Probably maybe there's some kind of hovering sprites which are just confusing the whole thing, right? Which are just making it harder for you to find Giga. However, at this point, I do want to make a point that, make sure that your game is aesthetically pleasing, right? And what I mean by that is that the game should be playable. It should not become so hard, so cluttered that it just doesn't look nice, right? You put like hundreds of sprites here, it will not look nice, right? So, you can do things within these constraints and still make it quite nice, right? So probably one sprite that's just kind of hovering around, confusing you a little bit. Maybe you can try some bit of cloning, for example, right? Which are all sprites are moving around and so on and so forth, yeah? Then you can think of another variation here where you say that, okay, look, my game here, notice, starts with all these 3 sprites, right? But I could probably build a game where I start, say, only with Giga, right? So maybe I start with Giga, but after I have taken the score to say 50 or something like that, I mean, just a number, you can say, okay, now I'll introduce a Pico, because now that's basically like a level 2, right? So I've gone to a new level where I've got just Pico, right? So what you have to do then in that case is that you have to keep a broadcast once the score reaches a certain point, or say once the time reaches certain point, right? Now, at that broadcast is when Pico comes out, right? So in the beginning, Pico is hidden, right? Pico, you have to be very careful here. You have to start giving broadcasts to bring Pico out, to bring Nano out. And once the broadcast comes, they start doing all the things that they have been doing, right? So you need to basically create another layer of broadcasts, which will cause the game to become more and more difficult as it goes on, right? Um, on this note, like I said earlier, you can create multiple levels, right? So I've given you examples where, in one game you are finding, say, Giga. In another game, maybe the backdrop is totally different, and the rule of the game is also changed. Maybe the sprites, instead of jumping around, hover around, right? So probably they glide to a new position or something like that, and you have to click on them. Maybe the sprites themselves become different, like in a different level, the whole context changes, and so on and so forth, right? Finally, and this could be a little bit complicated at this point of time, but it's interesting to think about this, right? That I can, in my game, all the sprites are very nicely visible. What would be nice, right? And it'll be really cool if I could have, say, a layer of darkness surrounding this entire screen with only a little bit of the screen visible to me. And from all that, I have to go and find Giga. So I have to go and hover around my mouse and see, oh, okay, Giga is here, right? And so on and so forth. So it becomes like a nice, mysterious feel to it. You can add more mystery to it by, choosing appropriate sprites, appropriate background. I'm giving you a link in the description here. You could take a look at that, and that will give you nice ideas. And for that to happen, you have to use this concept of layers, right? Which is kind of in the looks. Again, we will cover this in a later class, but you could try using that now. So if you combine all of this, I think what you will end up with is a very interesting game. It will use broadcasts in a very imaginative way, also make the game aesthetic, also make the game very interesting to play. And like I said, the most important thing is that you enjoy the process, you learn through the creative elements that this thing offers, right? All right, take care. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.